Ed Reed had a chance to lead an HBCU. We're going to talk about what school he decided to turn down and why right after the bumper. What's good people? Jeff Lighty Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will hit the like, share, subscribe button to be sure to get all the latest videos that we put out here on my channel, Jeff Lighty Jr., and the Black Boss Channel. Now, Ed Reed, Hall of Fame NFL safety Ed Reed, decided to turn down a HBCU job in the SWAC, and that job was recently given and hired to another man took the job, and his name was Hue Jackson. That job being the Grambling State football head coaching position. That is right. Grambling, according to CBS Sports, offered Ed Reed the job before ultimately getting Hue Jackson. I'm going to read to you from CBS Sports. It says Grambling State earned plaudits for hiring former NFL head coach Hue Jackson as its next head coach, as the storied HBCU program aims to return to the team of prominence and reinvest in its future. However, according to sources, the school took an outside-the-box approach within the search and initially offered the position to Hall of Fame safety Ed Reed. Reed, who was a Louisiana native and one of the best and most charismatic football players of his era, was Grambling's top choice. Despite limited coaching experience, Reed has spent time on the Bills coaching staff in the past and currently works as the chief of staff at the University of Miami, where he starred during the program's golden days. Grambling presented a comprehensive package to Reed, sources said, one he considered very seriously before ultimately deciding the timing wasn't right for him. So you got to think about what's taking place with the University of Miami right now. They just had a new AD and a new head football coach hired down there at the U. And so Ed Reed is going to be part of that transition process, getting, helping out with a former Miami player who is now the head coach of the University of Miami. His name is like escaping me right now, Mario Cristobal. So he's going to help with Mario Cristobal, and a lot of the former University of Miami players are helping with Cristobal a lot. It just happens that Ed Reed happened to have a place on the staff already, or I think we could be talking about Ed Reed being the head coach of the Grambling State Tigers and not Hue Jackson. Now, according to HBCU Game Day, the other finalists for the Grambling State job was Ray Lewis and Kevin Sumlin, and obviously it was Hue Jackson, who they ultimately hired. But HBCU Game Day left out that Ed Reed actually turned down the job. That was good reporting done by CBS Sports. But that still leaves one more job in the SWAC open for a potential, not Ed Reed. It seems like Ed Reed's going to stay where he's at in Miami, at least for the time being. But Ray Lewis and Kevin Sumlin should be at the top of the list for Prairie View to go out and get. And Ray Lewis would be an amazing hire for Prairie View. If they're able to bring in Ray Lewis, I like Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin did a lot of great things, both at Houston, at Texas A&M, and then Arizona. He did some good things, put some guys in the NFL, and made had some really good players. Was really, really good on the recruiting trail. He's best known for being on the recruiting trail for those universities. But Ray Lewis at Prairie View would be huge. I would have loved to have seen Ed Reed as the head coach of Grambling. Ed Reed being a Louisiana guy. See, a lot of people, myself included, originally thought Ed Reed was from Miami, because when you watch those U documentaries, a lot of the players during the heyday of the U came from Florida, came from Miami, came from, South Florida. And Ed Reed just fit the mold. Speed, quickness, agility, playmaking skills, all of those things made sense that he was from Florida. But Ed Reed's actually from Louisiana. Went to high school and everything in Louisiana. So that would have been amazing for Ed Reed to be able to come back to Louisiana and lead a Grambling football team as their head coach. Oh my God, it would have been a match made in heaven. The impact and the resources Ed Reed would have been able to bring to Grambling would have been second to none. It would have been a Jackson State type of thing. I still think Hue Jackson, and we're rooting for Hue. I think Hue is going to be great. I think Hue is going to do a lot of great things for Grambling, but Ed Reed at Grambling would have been nice. That would have been nice. And I am praying that Ed Reed gets a chance to be a head coach at a HBCU. I pray that next season, if there's an opening somewhere at Texas Southern or at, Alabama State hired a real estate guy, so I'm not even going to get into that, but somewhere else, that Ed Reed once again strongly considers becoming a head coach at an HBCU football program. See, the beauty behind guys like Ed Reed, Deion Sanders, Ray Lewis becoming head coaches in this space, this HBCU space, this SWAC space, Eddie George as well, is that they don't need the money. They don't need the money or the notoriety. They need neither one. They've done that, been there, done that, had that t-shirt. These guys are one of the most recognizable people in the world. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Eddie George, you're talking about national champions in college, Heisman Trophy winners, Super Bowl champions, NFL Defensive Player of the Years, et cetera, between those 3 or 4 guys. They don't need the notoriety. Deion played in the MLB. They don't need that stuff. But what they can bring to those programs, you can't put into dollars and cents. What Deion Sanders has been able to do at Jackson State can't just be measured in dollars and cents. Can't just be measured by numbers. Can't even just be measured by who attends the games. It's measured. It's hard to measure, period, but the community impact is second to none. The revitalization of HBCU athletics is second to none. What they are doing, what he's able to do, what Hue, I hope, is able to do with Grambling, what Ray Lewis, if he potentially gets a head coaching job, will be able to do with his program, Ed Reed, Eddie George, et cetera, can't just be measured by figures. Figures are good, and we sleep. We can't just act like that's not a part of the equation. No, that's a part of the equation, but that's not the whole thing. The community impact, all the blog sites, all the YouTubers that talk about your program, all the different media outlets that want to cover your program, all the excitement that you has generated for your program and for HBCUs is beautiful. It is beautiful. So Ed Reed, I hope you next year or the year after, whenever Cristobal gets established in Miami, I hope you decide to come be a head coach at an HBCU program. That's the first job offer sent to Ed Reed. It will not be the last. It is the first. It will not be the last. Ray Lewis, the same. I hope that you get a head coaching job at one of these HBCUs. It doesn't have to be in the SWAC. It can be in the MEAC. It can be in the CIAC. It can be at any of these conferences. I'm good with all of them. It won't be the first. It's the first. It won't be the last. I cannot wait to see these guys impacting and changing the communities that they are put in. I can't wait. I know it's coming. I cannot wait. Once again, my name is Jeff Lighty Jr. with the Black Boss Channel in Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and you can follow me on Instagram with any cool news, any dope things happening in HBCU sports. Hit my Instagram at JLighty7. I respond to everyone, so hit my inbox if you see anything. If you want to just shout, hit my inbox on Instagram. I respond to every single person. And also on Facebook, it's Jeff Lighty Sports. On Facebook, it is Jeff Lighty Sports. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.